Hardest working bitch in showbiz.
When you need some dough, you don't know where to go in this patriarchal capitalist hellscape. Well, here's the sitch, we're gonna help you, sis, because bitches get riches. Bitches get riches. Bitches get riches. Bitches get riches. And so can you.
How to save money with affordable car repairs. It should not cost $64 to change a light bulb. Yet that was the quote they gave me when I took my 10-year-old Volkswagen Golf to the dealership for service, along with another $4,824.56 in repairs of varying urgency. I naturally met this estimate with cool and queenly disdain, declined those repairs, and left with an oil change on the house. They knew what they did. I walked out of that dealership because I know I can get my car repaired for cheaper, like significantly cheaper. All it requires is a little time, a little elbow grease, and some good sense. What some dealerships and mechanics charge for car repairs is frankly obscene, but it doesn't have to be that way. So today I'm going to talk about my recent experience with the service department of a car dealership and explain, step by step, how I went on to pay significantly less for car repairs outside the dealership, and how you can too. So gird your loins, people. It's about to get real fucking spiteful up in here. The expensive world of car dealership service departments. My car very helpfully tells me when various light bulbs are out, and it won't stop telling me until they're replaced. So I took my car to the dealership because my car was like, ding, one of the little light bulbs above your license plate is out. And I was like, thanks, I'll take care of that later. And then the light bulb was like, ding, that bulb is still out. And then I was like, yeah, I know, but the other bulb is still lit and my plate is fully visible. I don't consider this an urgent problem. And then the car was like, ding, the bulb is burned out. And I was like, heard. Now please stop dinging at me every 15 minutes. And then the bulb was like, ding, no can do, bitch. Turning off my little dinging reminders is proprietary corporate information you won't find anywhere in the manual. My whole purpose is to annoy you into spending money. And then I was like, I'm driving off of a cliff now. So that was fun. Because I had 2 other minor parts-related repairs, I scheduled service at my local VW dealership. With foreign-made cars, I'm talking German, Japanese, Korean, and, my car is German. Sometimes it can take a long time to ship spare parts to a mechanic, but a dealership typically has these parts on hand. So I figured, why not see if the parts were in stock and the fixes would be quick and easy? I had forgotten that in the 3-way Venn diagram between good, fast, and cheap, you may only choose 2. The dealership tax. Dropping my car off at the dealership was super easy. They were so nice. They even paid Lyft to take me home while I waited. And they definitely had all the parts I needed on hand. Sounds great, right? Wrong. All of this was meant to lull me into a false sense of security so that they could rob me blind. Car dealerships make a significant profit margin through their service departments. They're not just providing car repairs at cost plus labor, they are marking up spare parts by as much as 4x to increase their profit margin, recommending repairs well before they're actually necessary, recommending repairs that aren't actually necessary but nice to have, informing you of proprietary systems in need of repairs that can only happen at the dealership, and last but not least, they're trying to convince you, through sticker shock, to trade in your busted vehicle for a new one. My car is 10 years old. I paid $14,000 for it, and I own it outright. I work from home and shop locally, so aside from weekend trips to frolic in the outdoors, it doesn't get used super often. No one but me is profiting off of it remaining in good working order. So the dealership probably saw me as the perfect candidate for a new car. They probably assumed that if they played their cards right, they could convince me my car wasn't worth repairing and I should instead just buy a whole new vehicle from them. And to be fair, this tactic works sometimes, often enough to make it worth trying. The only 2 uses for dealerships. Am I being mildly unfair? Yup. Do I care? Nope. I was handed a $4,000 plus bill for car repairs I could get done significantly cheaper elsewhere. And I'm allowed to be fucking salty about it. When it comes to car repairs, I only have 2 uses for the dealership. The first is getting a maximum repair estimate so I can take it to another mechanic. In this case, the dealership gave me a whole diagnostic list of stuff to fix on my car, and it ranged from the urgent, my trunk won't latch, to the preventative, I need to change the filters and my shocks are kind of squeaky, to the routine, my spark plugs need replacing, to the absolutely unnecessary, the fucking $64 license plate light bulb. Now that I have this diagnostic list, I can take my time shopping for second opinions and affordable options for car repairs. So thanks, VW dealership. I trust you'll make up for the loss of my business by price gouging another customer. The second use for a dealership is one I hate to admit, but honesty and ethics in gaming journalism compel me. Some foreign manufactured cars have proprietary systems in place that prevent non-dealership mechanics from performing car repairs. So, for example, my neighborhood Jiffy Lube would love to do a transmission fluid exchange on my VW, but they can't because of the proprietary transmission system. So, for that particular repair, I have to go to the dealership. More on that in a minute. With my dealership gripes out of the way, let's move on to how to actually get affordable car repairs. Step 1. Find an independent mechanic you trust. I used to have an independent auto shop I absolutely adored. It was called Bob and Ted's, and the eponymous Bob and Ted were two grizzled old mechanics with Santa beards whose office was filled with photos from one of their grandson's sports games. They were adorable. They were also the only men in the entire world allowed to call me sweetheart. And I allowed it because they were honest and straightforward. More often than not, they taught me how to diagnose a problem myself, and they regularly sent me to the shop to buy a part on my own instead of waiting for them to order it. But sadly for me, not for them, Bob and Ted retired. It took a few years, but now, thanks to extensive research and the recommendation of trusted friends, I have 2 new trusted mechanics. So let's talk about how to choose a mechanic. According to Consumer Reports, one of the best ways to choose a reliable mechanic is to use one approved by AAA. That's the American Automobile Association. They have a list of approved repair facilities which are required to have certain technicians. Furthermore, AAA offers a 10% discount on labor, which is capped at $75 in some areas. That's worth it for the discount alone if you're a AAA member. Personally, I relied on recommendations from friends, especially the one car guy I know. That's capital C, capital G, car guy. We've all got one. We all love them. They're great. Trust them. But you can also use sites like Angie and Yelp to read reviews and make sure you won't get taken for a ride, pun intended. Yelp even allows you to filter your search to help you find woman-owned businesses. And I trust I don't have to tell you why that's a really nice feature. Step 2. Get multiple opinions. I hate to compare human beings to vehicles, but if a doctor diagnosed you with terminal cancer, you'd absolutely get a second opinion just to be sure before putting your affairs in order. Thus, also with auto mechanics. I have 2 separate trusted mechanics for this very reason. Plus, they're both honest enough to tell me when something is not in their wheelhouse. Is that another car metaphor? I honestly don't know what a wheelhouse is. So if you do know, please leave a comment below or write into betterknowametaphor@bitchesgetriches.com. The habit of asking for a second opinion once saved me over $400 on a new hydro spanner, which Mechanic A thought was desperately needed. Mechanic B, however, figured out that my existing hydro spanner just needed a thorough cleaning, which was a time-consuming process, but way more affordable than a replacement hydro spanner. Okay, so by now, you've probably figured out that my knowledge of automobile engineering is limited. So I could absolutely look up the name of the part that makes the car's heater function, but quoting Star Wars makes me sound fun and relatable. So we're going to stick with our hydro spanner for now. Step 3. Learn the difference between routine maintenance and major repairs. There are entire businesses built around routine automobile maintenance. We will call them the routines. They're like the Supremes, but much easier to book for your 60th wedding anniversary. These are your Jiffy Lubes, your Midases, your Take 5s. All of these places will let you drive in without an appointment, hang out for 30 minutes or less, and drive out with a few basic maintenance items taken care of before they become a problem. These include changing the oil, changing the filters, rotating the tires, topping off the various fluids, servicing the brakes, and replacing the spark plugs, among many others. So for example, the dealership wanted to charge me $507 for a transmission fluid exchange. My local Jiffy Lube charges $125 to $250 for the same service. That's a savings of at least 50%, which is why I wanted to go visit one of the routines. So learn the difference between a major repair and routine maintenance, and don't bother the dealership or an independent mechanic with something you can get done at one of the routines. If you want to hear more information about how routine maintenance can help you save money on your car repairs, check out our article, How to Maintain Your Car When You're Barely Driving It. Step 4. Always look for coupons. Before you go in for an oil change or any other routine maintenance, there's one very important step you must take. This step will save you a trunk load of money. Car pun! It's coupons. It's always fucking coupons. Ours is not to question why, but for some reason, the car repairs business model runs on a constant rotation of coupons. I have never paid full price for an oil change or a fluid top-off in my life because a simple online search for Jiffy Lube coupon always yields results. So gather all the coupons you can find before you go in for car repairs. There's literally no reason to pay full price when these coupons are freely available online within seconds. Side note on the power of patience. So a week after I got that barf-inducingly high estimate from the Volkswagen dealership, they sent me a coupon in the mail. 20% off any previously declined service, it read. Interesting. Then, a few days before that bad boy expired, they sent me another coupon with a later expiration date. Guys, they really want my business. That was kind of gross. Sorry about that. It is galling to think that they could just as easily repair my trunk latch for $700 as for the $875 they originally quoted me. And yet, I'm not kicking that 20% discount out of bed. All I had to do to earn it was walk away and leave them wanting more. Step 5. Shop for parts yourself. Just as there's an entire industry built around routine maintenance, there's also an entire industry for wholesale car parts. Personally, I'm tight with my local O'Reilly Auto Parts, but stores like AutoZone and Pep Boys are just as good. I go in, I tell them the make and model of my car, I tell them what's broken, and they sell me a replacement part for a fraction of the cost of what the dealership charges. Remember the infamous $64 light bulb the dealership wanted to sell me? A pack of 2 is $6.99 at O'Reilly. I've changed filters, batteries, bulbs, windshield wipers, and tires all on my own after buying the parts myself. And often, if you dial your model customer level up to 11, the employees will even help you install the parts yourself. No worries if they don't, though. I've got advice for that below. The junkyard. If you're particularly ambitious for a good deal, you can bypass the auto parts wholesaler entirely and go straight to the junkyard to find parts in otherwise wrecked vehicles. Reddit user DoItRoyGS I hope I'm pronouncing that right, my friend, put it this way. Once you're confident on how much you'll be spending to fix it, try to knock the cost down. Junkyards and used parts stores can be a great way to save some cash. If pulling parts from a junkyard sounds like too much work, you can usually find people in the yard willing to pull parts for a fee. Quick example, I needed a new engine. I could have paid roughly $3,300 for a new one, $900 for one from a used parts store, or $260 at the junkyard, plus $60 to have someone pull it. I haven't personally tested this method, but it's only a matter of time before I'm bored and/or available enough to give it a go. Step 6. Learn what you can and can't repair yourself. The entirety of this section could just be subscribe to Jessica Can on YouTube. Jessica Chow is my gold standard for learning DIY car maintenance, and not just because she also happens to own a VW. I've learned 90% of my car DIY repairs from her channel, and I find her as accessible and welcoming as she is savvy and knowledgeable. But the best thing I've learned from Jessica Chow is just how many repairs you can do yourself. Even outside of the Jessica Can channel, the internet is a wealth of repair tips and tricks you won't find in your car's manual. For example, under how to change a headlight in my car manual, it just says, take it to the dealership. Which is bullshit because a YouTuber showed me exactly how I can do that shit myself, and my friendly neighborhood O'Reilly Auto Parts provided me with the part for a fraction of the cost of taking it to the fucking dealership. It's almost as if the insidious dealership industrial complex doesn't want us to know we don't need them for some of this stuff. Ah! DIYer beware. All that said, I must warn you not to get too ambitious with DIY repairs, just for safety's sake. I mean, we don't want your obituary to read, crushed to death under a medium ugly sedan at advice of idiot on the internet, or electrocuted by a medium ugly sedan at advice of idiot on the internet, or even drove off a cliff in a medium ugly sedan with faulty brakes at advice of idiot on the internet. I am the idiot on the internet. Do not put your life in my hands. Please. In other words, just know your limitations, get the proper tools, and be not ashamed to seek help. We wrote more about that in our article titled, "When Should You Release Your Death Grip on Your Precious Money and Hire a Professional?" Step 7. Help train the next generation. Mechanics don't just grow on trees, nor do they spring fully formed from the head of Zeus like Athena with a wrench. Though, if you haven't checked it out, there's this incredible photography series by Freddie Fabry that leads me to believe they are at least a little godlike. Anyway, the point is that auto mechanics have to come from somewhere, and that place is generally a trade school, community college, or high school with an auto shop. And those schools are all in need of vehicles for students to practice on. So your vehicle could teach the next generation of mechanics how to repair a busted astromech socket or flux capacitor. And they won't charge you anywhere near full price. You'll have to pay for parts, of course, but otherwise the service is free or steeply discounted. And the trainees will do quality work under the supervision of their teachers, who will check to make sure it's done right. Even so, in exchange for cheap service, you'll generally need to sign a waiver. I haven't tried this method myself yet, but it didn't take me long to find a community college and a technical school in my city that will indeed train their students with my car repairs. Step 8. Make an insurance claim. In most places, car insurance is a requirement of car ownership. So take advantage of your insurance to make those car repairs more affordable. If something breaks, like really breaks, not just wears out due to routine use, file an insurance claim to see if your car insurance will pay to fix it. The worst that can happen is you waste a little time and they still say no. Your insurance might require you to use one of their approved mechanics to get the repairs done. So this means you might have to cheat on your beloved and trusty mechanic, or you might have to travel a little out of your way to get the repairs done. So decide for yourself just how much that's worth to you if insurance approves the claim. Even if they don't accept your claim, your insurance might still offer discounts according to bank rate. But those discounts still might be restricted to your insurance provider's preferred shop. I've never paid more than my insurance deductible for a replacement windshield, thanks to my car insurance. And neither should you. Step 9. Ask for a discount. When all else fails, plead poverty. Consumer Reports says, ask your shop for a discount. You may be able to get a lower price just by asking for coupons and straight-up discounts. Plead your case. Tell them the repair is expensive for you, says Mike Crossan, a CR mechanic. According to CR's repair shop survey, independent shops and some chains were rated highly for their discounts. Independent shops also received favorable scores for their willingness to negotiate, while the dealerships we were able to rate received dismal scores. So people can still surprise you, whether they're the owner of a small family business or the service department rep at a major dealership. We all understand just how hard it is out there right now. Being clear and honest about your financial situation will give a mechanic the chance to cut you a deal, even if it's just a reasonable payment plan. Let's learn and grow together. As I finished writing this article, my hands were stained with engine soot. Not now, though. I washed them. I'm thrilled to announce that after watching Jessica Ann's video, I was able to successfully change my spark plugs myself. They cost me $79.62 at O'Reilly, plus an hour of my time, while the dealership wanted to charge me $272.88 to replace them. I am by no means a car guy, but I am frugal as fuck. And the more I learn about car ownership, the more convinced I am that dealership repairs are a racket. So let's learn and grow together. Do you have a tip for finding affordable car repairs? Share your wisdom with a comment below. Dear listeners, if you enjoyed this video essay /podcast/article, depending on the format in which you are enjoying it, you should join our Patreon, because that is what keeps the lights on around here. And I literally mean the lights. The ring light that I am gazing into at the moment, that was thanks to our beloved Patreon donors. So is the software I am recording on, and our beloved producer Ducky, who had to go through so many takes on this article. And I'm so grateful to her, and also mea culpa. All of it was made possible by our Patreon donors. So if you would like to join their noble ranks, you can do that at patreon.com/bitchesgetriches. Over on our Patreon, you'll find all kinds of exclusive perks, like content polls, pictures of my brand new puppy, and other stuff. It's great. So join patreon.com/bitchesgetriches to help us bitches fulfill our mission of enlightening the world with our wisdom and stupid gags. Also, if you would like to hear more from us, you can join our newsletter and follow along at bitchesgetriches.com. That is bitchesgetriches.com. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah. Even if $507 for a trim, $125 to $100, they're both on for a fraction. But stick with me here. Sorry, Dougie. Once more without hitting the microphone. I'm sorry. I'm going to take that whole thing again from the top, make it drop for that wet ass pussy.